hope you're doing well. In the last video, I talked about studying and learning and the sort of differences between them, but in this video I'd like to expand on that a little bit more. I actually searched up the definitions for both of these words and they're relatively similar, but it seems that studying has a bit more of like an academic tone to it. So here are the definitions. The meaning of learning is the acquisition of knowledge or skills through study, experience, or being taught. On the other hand, for studying, it is to devote time and attention to gaining knowledge of an academic subject, especially by means of books. Now, this is something that I just got off the internet. Obviously, definitions, they can be used interchangeably in a lot of different ways. So, learning is synonymous with studying, and studying is synonymous with learning. But I would say that both of these words give a different sort of image in my mind when I think of them. When I think of myself learning, I think of myself reading a book or more recently creating a mind map, and there's no stress, I'm just doing it in my own time. When I think of studying, I think of sort of being bent over my desk and revising material and feeling a little bit of stress because the material that I'm revising or going through will contribute towards a test in the future. So in my mind, there is a clear distinction between these two words. Learning is something that you do at your own pace in the comforts of your mind with no fear of judgment from someone else. While learning, there is a time limit and you need to keep things in your mind that inevitably someone will judge in the form of a grade because you're doing these things for a test or to write some essays. So for me personally, I like learning more, and I've tried to implement it in my life a little bit, as I mentioned in my previous video. With learning, you dive into the material because you want to, because you find it interesting, and you don't feel any pressure to regurgitate it in the confines of academic stuff. When you learn, you talk about the knowledge you gained with like-minded people and with the general population. So from my perspective, you can sort of tell that for me, learning does not really fit into formal education, but I would argue with that because you can actually learn informal education as well. An example is when we, in my class, when we are introduced to a new study topic, that really excites me, and I'm looking forward to learning because it's new material that we have recently come across. I know that this material will expand my mind, help me learn more about medications in the body, and just expand the body of knowledge that I have. So in that perspective, it is learning. But when it becomes, a couple weeks later, when I need to revise this stuff for a test, relearn it, that's when it becomes studying to me. And it's something that I don't really like. Now, obviously, I have a bias. I'm more inclined to learning than studying. It's just something that I enjoy more. But you may be someone that really enjoys studying and revisiting the material and challenging yourself to, really hold on to that information so that you can write a really good essay or answer a question really well. And I think that's really cool. But yeah, that's the difference between learning and studying. I feel like this was a bit of an abstract video, but oh well. To finish off, I'll read this quote from this book that I'm reading called What I Talk About When I Talk About Running by Haruki Murakami. This is a quote from this book that I'm currently learning from. Alright. I think I can say the same thing about me and studying. From elementary school up to college, I was never interested in things I was forced to study. I told myself it was something that had to be done, so I wasn't a total slacker and was able to go on to college, but never once did I find studying exciting. As a result, even though my grades weren't the kind you have to hide from people, I don't have any memory of being praised of getting a good grade or being the best in anything. I only began to enjoy studying after I got through the educational system and became a so-called member of society. If something interested me and I could study it at my own pace and approach it the way I liked, I was pretty efficient at acquiring knowledge and skills. The art of translation is a good example. I learned it on my own, the pay-as-you-go method. It takes a lot of time to acquire a skill this way, and you get through a lot of trial and error, but what you learn sticks with you. So I think this can be related to what I'm talking about. How when you allow yourself to go at a very even pace and really understand the material that you're going through, that is what actual learning is, and it allows you to really intake the information and turn it into your own, a great body of knowledge inside of you, compared to studying, which is something that you do as part of formal education. You do it to get farther in life, to graduate, to get a job. These are things that you have to do, and you may not necessarily want to do them. They may not interest you as much, or they may interest you, but the confines of having to study them for a test or having to write essays that will be graded may actually prevent you from really enjoying the subject as much as you would like to. So yeah, that is the difference between learning and studying. I hope this sort of helps you understand a little bit more what I'm trying to say, the distinctions between them, and why maybe it's important to make that distinction, and why learning can be something that, brings out a lot of joy and deeper understanding of the world and of the people around us and of interactions and all that good stuff. Yeah. Hope you're taking care of yourself, and I'll see you next time.